more thanks to Ebonics.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Supernatural Beer Bros podcast. I am your host Andy, and I'm joined today by Ben down San Diego way, and and my esteemed brother Ronnie up in Maine with the
What's up,
skeeters,
everybody?
with the skeeters buried under 40 feet of snow.
Hope you like my Jolly Roger.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Hoist the black flag and slit some throats.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Time is coming. You are gay.
The rest of that quote is always left out because then it's like slit throats, but then equitably distribute the properties that you've seized.
Yeah.
Because they actually split the booty pretty evenly. Like pirates were fucking democratic.
Are you saying
So they were liberals?
No, as in they made democratic decisions to split the boot. Like
No, I'm
pirates,
saying you made the equity comment. So I
Are you saying you split the booty?
Excellent. Oh my God.
Oh man.
You are gay.
You're fired.
All right. Well, today's topic is Project Thor, followed closely by Dark Winter. So we will get into, where is it? All right, we'll get into Project Thor first. Wait, where are we at? Wait, I thought I closed that.
Free advertising for DuckDuckGo.
Right? You need to pay me. All right, so Project Thor, aka the Rod of God, baby's arm holding an apple. Oh man. So, America's weapon idea has the force of a nuclear weapon without the radiation.
It would be a good time to play that clip from Austin Powers, Andy, where there's when Dr. Evil takes off in his rocket.
Hey, Ronnie.
Sarah Connor.
Yes.
Anyways, so a treaty signed in 1967 by more than 100 countries prevents any nation from putting nuclear weapons in space for obvious reasons. While it seems people are content with the idea of the devastating missiles being housed in bunkers and in submarines all over the surface of the planet, the thought of space nukes was enough to terrify the world. However, the United States Air Force came up with an idea that is so simple that it should be just as terrifying. Project Thor is a theoretical weapon system, that would deploy tungsten rods from thousands of kilometers above the Earth, and it would be sent to its intended target. The rod would be sent to its intended target.
The rod of God.
Oh, yeah.
God's gonna give that city the rod.
Release the hound.
So, while some might scoff at the thought, the math behind the idea shows it would have the same impact as an intercontinental ballistic missile. Now, I disagree.
It's gonna turn you into a pillar of salt.
It's not going to have that kind of energy. It's not going to have that kind of yield. I mean, they're talking. I was reading in another article. We'll get to that one, but it's talking. It's going to have upon impact. It's going to have the energy of anywhere between 1 and 10 kilotons.
Yeah,
So
so something similar to like a Hiroshima bomb,
yeah, or slightly smaller.
which was still big. That's the biggest bomb ever used in anger in
Right.
human history.
But but the bombs we have today make Hiroshima look like a firecracker. So
Right. But
So
none of them have ever been used in war.
So this sort of rod of God then might not necessarily be meant to have such a horrifyingly destructive power. It might be more for surgical strikes to silence, to show an enemy that we're serious about business.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So these telephone pole size rods from God would be launched from space, and by the time it landed on Earth, it would be flying at Mach 10.
We'll make spears, long spears, twice as long as a man.
Some men are longer than others. Oh well. God has been telling stories about me again.
We'll make them long. We'll make them long, and make them made of tungsten, so they're wicked hard.
Wicked hard. And just before we launch, we're gonna say, "Bite your lip. I'm going in dry."
Nah, bite the pillow, son.
You know, I always hear all the time about Russia's like alleged willingness to use like limited scope kind of tactical nuclear weapons. So maybe they would try to use something like this instead, because you don't want to poison land that you intend to ultimately maybe occupy, you know?
Well, yeah, well, that's why they made like the suitcase size, like dirty bombs that they made.
Yeah, but the
So,
thing is,
so
though,
where like a KGB infiltrator could sneak it into a city and detonate it and irradiate half the city.
well, I
you
mean,
know?
compared to our primitive nukes that we used in World War II, our modern nukes are very efficient. There is some fallout, but in most cases, the dangerous levels of fallout are gone within a few weeks.
Oh,
Just
that's
enough time for the surviving population to starve to death.
Well, because all the fuel is burned. All the fuel is expended on detonation. It's not like the old nukes we had when we were still figuring out the technology. We've had since the 1940s to perfect it. And we've never stopped working. We're still working on them.
Well, hell, let's just use them all then.
No, because we destroyed the planet. But I mean, think about it. All that
Push the
oxygen burned,
shiny red button. You want to
all
push
that
it.
heat.
So is this program debated with whether the existence, or is it pretty much acknowledged that it
No,
exists?
the program is acknowledged that it existed in theory.
It's a theoretical weapon system. It was a program to explore the idea of such a weapon system.
Now, the conspiracy theory is that we actually went ahead and built these and deployed them. That's the conspiracy theory.
If the government's going to love a project, they are going to spend, billions on that project. They're going to do it.
Without the other secret programs and alternative propulsion systems, I'd like to know if we don't have those alternative systems that are ultra top secret. I'd like to know how we lifted a telephone pole sized tungsten rod into space, and not just one, but many of them. I'd like to know how we got something that big and heavy into space.
So Project Thor doesn't come cheap, he said, because space travel is one hell of an expensive operation. It was estimated that a single 20-foot long tungsten rod, now it's 20 feet long by 1 foot diameter, would weigh 24,000 pounds.
Good Lord.
That's what I'm saying.
So there are rough estimates that state it costs around $10,000 per pound to take something into space. So that means a single rod from God would send the U.S. military back or set the U.S. military back about $240 million per rod.
Unless they have anti-gravitic propulsion.
Plus, not to mention, what is the going rate per pound of tungsten? I mean, I don't think it's a very abundant metal on this planet.
Look it up, Andy. You got DuckDuckGo right in front of you. Say
Good question.
tungsten price per pound.
Price per pound. Wait, how do you spell tungsten?
TUNGSTEN.
TUNGSTEN. What the fuck just happened?
You're performing an illegal search.
Tungsten alloy supply, quality tungsten products. No, I want to see the scrap. Ultrafine copper powder. The fuck? I don't want copper. I want tungsten. Tungsten price per metric ton.
So
that works.
Hold on.
Yeah, $240 million just to drop something with the power of Hiroshima. And
All right. When considering the toughest materials, first the diamonds, carbon, titanium.
24,000 pounds
You should also
would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 metric tons, wouldn't it?
What?
24,000 pounds of tungsten would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 metric tons.
Yeah.
Right?
That.
So I would say figure out what it is per metric ton, and you can do the math.
So 2018, it was $30,300 per ton.
So times 10. And we'll make that the conservative estimate.
Hold on, I got it here.
30, yeah, but you're not comparing parts and labor.
Times 12. $363,600 per rod.
Yeah, but that's also the scrap price. Like in rough form, that's not the cost to mill it and shape it and form everything. All the labor involved.
It's probably forged in a mold. They probably melt it down, pour it in a mold, and off you go.
It's probably a couple $1 million a rod.
Easily. Probably $1 billion a rod, knowing what the government pays for shit.
85% of that's overhead.
Right? I mean, Jesus. So, oh man. So what do you think, Ben? Think this is a viable weapon?
Well, I mean, I have to agree with Ronnie, unless they have an alternate propulsion, the propulsion system to economically transport these to space. No, I don't see how they could justify that sort of. I mean, obviously they don't care about justifying themselves to the people, but they still do need, at the end of the day, to quietly discuss their spending with the Senate. So I don't think $240 million just for a small little Hiroshima explosion is going to be justifiable.
Well, you got to love that these people are so secure in their manhoods that they have to launch satellites loaded with, a bunch of these large phallic objects to launch them into the earth at 30,000 miles an hour. Just, I don't know.
You will shut up, China, or I will penetrate you deep.
Right? I mean, I'm sure they probably have like a stock of these tungsten rods lying around somewhere in Colorado or some shit, just not being utilized.
Yeah, they're probably buried in Cheyenne Mountain somewhere.
Yeah. And actually, I closed it already, but there was we've had similar weapons since Vietnam. Only these ones were dropped from high altitude from aircraft, and we called it kinetic bombardment. So we had these, I don't remember what they called them or what they were made of, but
They're like giant lawn darts.
Yeah, basically. Except these are lawn darts that travel at 500 to 600 miles per hour and penetrate like 20 or 30 feet into the ground.
So they're like the non-explosive predecessor to the bunker buster.
Something like that.
I'm sure they'd use it to penetrate like fortified bunkers and stuff.
Makes sense.
So you're not going to stop a couple tons of solid tungsten from, penetrating like a dart through concrete.
So has
It's
anybody
going to.
has anybody heard the Q theory that the Three Gorges Dam in China was taken out with the rod of God?
I have heard that, but I'd have to see photographic or video evidence that the Three Gorges Dam is actually
I mean, no shit,
decimated.
dude. Look, if something that fucking devastating were to happen, even in China, it would have been all over every major news network in the world within
Yeah,
hours.
you can't hide something like that.
Yeah, you have to take Q with caution because a lot of those guys are probably just glowies, fucking around and being stupid.
Glowies getting blowies.
No.
Blowies getting blowies. Oh man.
Not to get off topic, but I'm gonna have that in my head when the second Civil War kicks off and the other side's coming at me. I'm gonna have that. Oh no.
All
They're
right.
running this with pink furry hats.
Like we said in the last show. I mean, I think with everything else going on in the world right now, there's the chances of us having a second civil war at this moment in history is probably pretty thin right now.
It's anorexic,
Pretty slim.
but it'll gain weight after 2024 if things go funky. So
Facts.
The only reason we're not at war already is because most Americans have become just too passive.
and that's kind of fine by me in a sense because I don't want people who are like always looking to like draw blood, so that's fine by me.
But that's the American way.
Ideally, we should just be all chilling anyhow. Just mind your own and chill.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Ben.
That should be the American way.
Our short history is stained with war and bloodshed, though. Like,
well, my new
every
American
couple
way
decades.
My new American way is mind our own fucking business.
Yeah, as far as foreign policy, absolutely. I say we go back to pre-World War II doctrine and just stay isolationist.
Hey, I had the same idea over the last few years regarding the cops. I'm like, why don't the cops just go home for a week or two and see how long it takes for the liberals to start begging for them to come back out to the streets?
Well, you already saw that. Like Minneapolis, they voted down a measure to defund the police, and Minneapolis is super liberal, so they're already doing it.
All right, the sea is foamy.
The rod of God, anorexic or sweat hog.
Oh, I mean, we're not quite there yet. The U.S. Air Force is reportedly considering the deployment of a highly sophisticated new weapon system in space, which is currently under development under Project Thor. While the 1967 Outer Space Treaty prohibits the U.S. from deploying nuclear, biological, or chemical weapons in space, this new weapon promises to deliver strikes more powerful than many types of nuclear and chemical attack, while avoiding the unfavorable fallout which follows nuclear strikes. Development of a non-nuclear space-based superweapon also provides the U.S. with a potentially massive advantage against adversaries with a no first-use policy for their own nuclear arsenals such as China and North Korea, allowing the U.S. to strike targets with the same level of force as a nuclear warhead without escalation to a nuclear war.
And those rods of God would be very, very well suited for taking out nuclear silos and nuclear launch sites and shit.
Right. I mean, tungsten is dense, it's hard, and long and thick.
Yeah, and it's traveling at re-entry speed, and it's going in deep, and it's going in hard.
It's veiny.
I mean, I disagree. Like, it's gonna cause reactions. So, like, we drop a couple of these on an opponent, an adversary, it's gonna cause resentment and a reaction.
Oh, they will respond in kind, or they'll try.
That's what I'm talking about. So I think that's a little bit of bullshit saying, oh, it won't cause a nuclear reaction. Of course it will, because we just dropped essentially a Hiroshima on them.
So yeah, so like I said before, these rods are 20 foot long by 1 foot in diameter, dropped from American satellites to strike hardened bunkers and underground nuclear complexes. These rods will not carry warheads, but will strike at approximately 10 times the speed of sound, allowing them to cause tremendous damage with the sheer speed of their impact. Hence the name kinetic weapon. This would provide an alternative to both nuclear bunker busters and conventional ones, such as the GBU-57. North Korea and Russia, both of which deploy considerable assets from well-hardened installations.
Yeah, that's about the speed that our rail guns fire a projectile at, isn't it? About Mach 10.
No, it's got to be faster than that. I don't know. I don't know much about the railguns other than what I saw on like the Discovery Channel 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was.
I mean, if these are legitimate weapons, then I'd say it'd be great to use them on Iran and North Korea simultaneously if we had enough of them dropped to annihilate their capabilities. So
Yeah. So all right. So, as it travels towards the surface of the Earth powered by gravity alone, the projectile would gain tremendous velocity and speed, going 8 kilometers per second in orbit, and eventually getting up to an impact speed of about Mach 10. When just one of these rods from God hit the surface, it would penetrate hundreds of feet into the ground while releasing its built up kinetic energy to create an explosion roughly on par with over 11.5 tons of TNT. So that's not even a kiloton, that's 11.5 tons.
11.5 tons. A kiloton is 1,000.
1,000 tons.
So it's 11 kiloton yield.
So if more than one was dropped over an area, they could create incredible devastation on par with a tactical nuke. So for instance, 100 rods would have the total destructive power of 1,150 to 14,000 tons of TNT, approaching the yield of an atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. All without the fallout. No radiation, no need for actual explosives of any kind. Often called Project Thor, there are envisioned to be between 6 to 8 satellites in orbit at any given time, carrying these projectiles, giving them the capability to hit any target on the planet's surface within 10 to 15 minutes from the order to launch to impact.
It sounds all good in theory.
That's impressive, though.
Yeah.
As soon as I give the word to drop, 10 minutes later, the target's destroyed anywhere on the planet.
So it sounds like it's definitely it would be a surgical strike. Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's saying one rod would be up to, which means it could be less, but up to 11.5 tons of TNT.
Why didn't we drop those on Tora Bora back in 2001?
I don't know. We probably didn't have them in 2001.
I'd say we probably had some.
It's a possibility.
What's that quote from the dad in Independence Day talking about $30,000 toilet seats?
Right.
Spend $20,000 on a hammer, $30,000 on a toilet seat, would you?
Huh? Are you mashugging?
Come on.
Andy, did you get the whole Arnie soundboard?
No, I got 2 of them.
Get down. Get down again.
Get down now.
Get in the chopper.
I have nowhere to go and I have nothing to do. I'm going to hang out with you until the end of time.
I don't need your help. Get away from me, Frankenhead. Oh man.
The sea is getting foamy. Andy.
You're fired.
You can't just go around killing people. Why? Because you can't. Why?
Okay.
All right.
California, man, you just can't go around doing that.
Anyway,
Right? Why?
so let's go around the table. Ben, Project Thor, thin, fit, obese. Go.
I mean, probably fit. And if these things were real, this is the kind of weapon I would support.
Well, how about as far as are they deployed?
Oh, are they deployed
Are they deployed now?
Plausible.
Deployed right now, probably not, unless we have just kind of a beta, program going on where we have maybe one rod in orbit. So help me out. Are they like orbiting?
Wait, so if one rod is dropped and it penetrates deep and hard into China, does that make the rest of the rods beta cucks?
Sure does.
Or do they got to get their piece too?
Unless we just have like one in orbit as a I don't know. I don't know if we do or not. Like they're
So
probably
we have to have a bunch of normal rods, and then we got to have a satellite with just one big giant rod. That's like the big granddaddy rod.
Right?
And the rest of the cucks of that rod.
Get one the size of a fucking redwood tree.
Exactly.
We'll call it fucking Mandingo. You just shut up, Russia, or we're gonna throw Mandingo at you.
We're sending that giant USA rod down on you.
We'll even do it the courtesy to paint it black.
Runs
So
deep,
probably-
so deep, put
Probably
her ass
thin.
to sleep.
I'm gonna say thin.
Really thin? Thin.
Yeah, I like it's not like we'd have
Well, thin that is deployed now, or thin that the project existed.
thin that deployed right now.
Oh,
I lean to the side of kind of down the middle. I believe the project existed, and I believe that it is definitely plausible that we have some amount of this weapon deployed currently. That it's plausible.
I think 100%. If this project existed, which it seems like it did. I think that we have, at least one of these up there right now, 100%.
Well, it definitely existed. And of course, because it's some like Air Force officer lackey, probably some JAG officer was like, hey, they don't let us have nuclear weapons. How about this, General? Like some fucking Air Force Academy graduate who's really slick came up with.
Think about it. Back during Bush Jr.'s tenure, we had right before 9/11, they were investigating a $3 trillion fucking defense budget deficit. They couldn't figure out where the money went. Well, what do you think they were spending it on? UFOs and the hard rod.
No, they were spending it on giant phalluses to shoot down at the earth and penetrate deep.
Right? That's what I think.
But
I mean,
Um,
never underestimate humans' ability to develop more. Well, I guess in this case, it wouldn't be as devastating a weapon, though, which is kind of an odd turn of events. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
'Cause
the
usually,
U.S. over
Yeah.
the last 5 decades or so has gone away from more devastating to surgical, and
I
this
say
this seems
never
like
underestimate
surgical.
never underestimate the human race's ability and drive to create more and more destructive giant penises.
Yeah,
So,
but
I mean,
what I'm saying is this weapon is more of I think it seems more of like a surgical strike weapon.
no, I agree.
no, it definitely is,
I mean,
provided it has some type of guidance system. Because I have a feeling, if this is just a giant solid rod with no guidance system, no way to correct.
well, it has
You
fins
know.
on the back, and I'm sure those fins are adjustable. They move, so I'm sure it can guide itself more or less to its target. And
Maybe.
and with that type of force, it only needs to get close. So you gotta be
Yeah, I
real close,
definitely don't.
within 10, 20 feet ish.
Yeah, if that thing, like that article just said, can penetrate, hundreds of feet into the ground, that's some serious energy.
Yep, it doesn't even need any lube because it just rams it home.
I mean, if they do exist, it sounds like they'd be great to deploy against Iranian missile silos buried deep under the ground in their mountains, and the same for North Korea.
Exactly.
So,
Those are the types of targets I'd be hitting with it.
in a sense, I hope they do exist, because I've always felt that, well, because EMPs terrify me, because usually they're nuclear based. So what if we had a non-nuclear EMP? That would be probably preferable than the alternative.
What are you guys, silly? I'm still gonna send it. Just gonna send it.
You're fired.
Well, thanks for coming to our TED Talk.
You can't fire me. I quit.
I have a fucking pirate flag. Who do you think you're talking to?
Exactly.
Hound.
All right, Andrew.
What are we doing now? Dead air.
Give me a minute.
What are you peeing in a bottle again?
His silence is confirmation.
Excellent.
You should just get a stadium, pal.
You guys need me to carry on a conversation?
Tamed my monster. With your mouth and 2 other places.
In an order that would surprise you.
That's my thing.
Oh man. What did we ever do without Zoom?
Live
God.
life, I guess.
All right, so yep, we did the round table with Project Thor. So oops.
Project Thor.
Yeah, horror. So
Okay.
So
Fuck up your country.
we're going to move on to the
A whore. He's a whore.
we're going to move on to the next topic. Dark Winter.
Dak.
Dun dun.
Wicked Dak.
Wicked Dak. Just like the rod from God.
Dark and colder than a polar bear's touch hole out there.
Yep, just like Ronnie, trying to squeeze 2 inches of dick through 3 inches of clothing.
Oh man.
So he could take a piss.
Yeah, do you mind? Just an icicles.
Right? All right, anyway.
Ice cubes where it hits the ground.
Dark winter. Well, we'll start with this part. So, what does dark winter really mean? So, on October 22nd, presidential candidate Joe Biden, Joseph Biden,
Yep, Joseph. Yep.
The White Walkers are coming.
he mentioned the term dark winter during his debate with President Donald Trump.
I remember that moment too.
According to some news outlet, Biden on this statement meant to say extreme coronavirus deaths. So, no, he didn't. He said dark winter.
Coronavirus.
Biden stated in this televised presidential debate 220,000 Americans dead. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president of the United States of America. We're about to go into a dark winter, and he has no plan. Joe Biden added. Dark winter.
Sounds like an idiot to me.
Well, and I thought he's mentioned dark winter on other occasions, like not even in the coronavirus context.
So, dark winter. It was a training tabletop exercise. Is based on a fictional scenario. The inputs experts used for modeling the potential impact were fictional. It is a teaching and training resource for public health and government officials. Dark winter exercise held at Andrews Air Force Base, Washington, D.C., June 22nd through 23rd of 2001. So just a few months before September 11th. And the anthrax attacks. So it portrayed a fictional scenario depicting a covert smallpox attack on U.S. citizens. The scenario is set in 3 successive National Security Council meetings, segments 1, 2, and 3, that take place over a period of 14 days. Former senior government officials played the roles of NSC members responding to the evolving epidemic. Representatives from the media were among the observers of these mock NSC meetings and played journalists during the scenario's press conferences. So key players, if anybody's interested and you're watching this on YouTube, these are the names of the people involved. See them all, they're right here. You know how terrible I am at reading names. So,
I ain't much for reading.
the Dark Winter exercise was the collaborative effort of 4 organizations. John Hemre of the Center for Strategic and International Studies initiated and conceived of an exercise wherein senior former officials would respond to a bioterrorist induced national security crisis. Tara O'Toole, an Irish woman, and Tom Inglesby of the Johns Hopkins Center.
Inglesby.
Dingleberry.
For civilian biodefense studies, and Randy
Your
Lodge
mother smelt of
Mark
elderberries.
Demier of Analytic Services, Inc. were the principal designers, authors, and controllers of Dark Winter. Sue Reingold of CSIS managed administrative and logistical arguments. General Dennis Reamer of the Memorial Institute for the Prevention of Terrorism provided funding for Dark Winter.
In order to maintain airspeed velocity, a swallow must beat its wings 43 times every second, right?
Be quiet.
Am I
I'm
right?
interested.
So, Dark Winter was a tabletop simulation exercise to figure out what the fuck we would do if a terrorist organization covertly attacked us with a weaponized smallpox virus.
Very thin.
That is not thin. It happened. Dark Winter, the exercise happened.
I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm saying that scenario is thin.
That scenario is likely.
No, it is
Yeah.
not.
It is.
Why
Because
is it not?
there's only like 2 or 3 labs on the planet that has smallpox. It
Yes.
doesn't exist anywhere in nature.
I'll explain if you let me.
All right, go ahead. I thought you were done.
So the idea of bioterrorists being some terrorist group that gets a hold of a biological weapon like that could only be produced in 1, maybe 2 labs in the world is unlikely. It would be sanctioned by said governments in said countries.
Exactly.
And so therefore it wouldn't be a terrorist group or organization. It would be an attack by a foreign power.
Never heard of state-sponsored terrorism? It happens.
I'm just saying it's an attack by a foreign power. It's not some rogue group. A rogue little group of terrorists. That scenario is thin to get a hold of something like that.
Well, coronavirus was state-sponsored terror on every level, from every government.
Well, what
I'm
set
talking
my
about a
alarm bell-
terrorist group. I'm not talking about governments.
Well, I know, but usually, like, because remember, we funded the Mujahideen in the 1980s,
Dude,
and then they turned on us.
okay, we're the only, like, the U.S. is one of 2 nations that has smallpox in labs. The other one is Russia. Russia loses nuclear weapons. They've lost them in the past, and it's happened more than once.
We've lost 1 or 2 ourselves.
Exactly. So who's to say that some fucking rogue group doesn't get their hands on a little vial of weaponized smallpox?
Hey, isn't there a nuclear weapon somewhere buried in a swamp in North Carolina somewhere?
I've
Didn't
heard
it fall out of a plane?
I've heard
Didn't
that
it fall out of
fucking-
a plane and it's
Yeah.
somewhere in a swamp or something?
Yeah, I've heard that myth.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's real or not, but I've heard it.
You know what's still missing, which I don't think ever crashed, and maybe to tie it into this is MH370, that Malaysian airliner. They never found the wreckage of that,
Yeah.
to my knowledge.
No, they
Oh.
never found one little scrap of wreckage. Nothing.
What was the name of the dude's treasure they were looking for in the Goonies?
I don't remember.
Why don't you use your little robot duck friend?
Uh,
I'm lazy.
is it Curly? Like Curly's Gold or something?
Yeah,
That's
something like that.
that's City Slickers too.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting them mixed up. I'm an idiot. Disregard me.
But no, what set my alarm bells off recently was the fact that Bill Gates, that notorious SOB, Bill Gates recently was talking about smallpox terrorism.
One-Eyed Willie. One-Eyed Willie's treasure. That's what they were looking for.
One-Eyed Willie.
Yeah, One-Eyed Willie probably.
Yeah, they were looking for a penis's treasure.
Yeah, a big old glorious veiny one.
But if you look it up, Bill Gates, whatever random reason, has recently been talking about biological terrorism through a smallpox attack. And he's already warning that a future pandemic will occur.
No, DB Cooper, dude. DB Cooper, right?
He's the guy that jumped out of the airplane and disappeared with millions of dollars.
But yeah, that's the treasure they were looking for, though. DB Cooper.
Not in the Goonies.
Which one am I thinking of then?
Was that
DB Cooper is?
Which movie am I thinking of then?
I can't remember, Andy.
It took place in Astoria, Washington, right? That was the Goonies.
Please,
The Goonies was One-Eyed Willie.
Whatever. I think it's DB Cooper though.
It is not, Andy.
Stick it up your
Checking
ass,
the
Ronnie.
plot in Wikipedia. What does the plot say?
Wikipedia said One-Eyed Willie, but
Okay, there it is.
but I don't know. I could have swore I remembered DB Cooper from that movie. Mandela
Yo.
Effect. Mandela Effect.
Ah, there it
Not
is.
DB Cooper anymore. It's One-Eyed Willie.
Crossover episode.
Right?
The sea is
Mandela Effect.
foamy. We've wandered way off course.
You're fired.
I don't know what to do, Captain. We don't have the power.
Head for the mainland.
You can, and you will.
Go away, William.
Head for the mainland.
Anyhow,
Oh, I know you can fight.
what I was saying is, Bill Gates has been talking about this recently, which should set off everybody's alarm bells, because Bill Gates, the non-scientist, is big into these pandemic responses, allegedly.
Not to mention those
He
random vials.
bankrolled.
Not to mention those random vials labeled smallpox they found in the trash cans all over the place.
Yeah, in
He
Philadelphia.
bankrolled the whole event 201 and all that.
Yep. And for those of you that don't know, Event 201 was the Johns Hopkins drill, the same people that ran Dark Winter. Event 201 was the Johns Hopkins drill that simulated the coronavirus outbreak 6 months before it started. Ben, you're muted. Your mic is muted, Ben.
Yeah,
That's what I
and
mean. All this stuff is planned in advance. And the fact is, I think they've now realized that coronavirus itself wasn't enough to break the will of most human beings across the planet. So now they would go to something like smallpox to really break us.
What's the death rate for smallpox? About 50-50?
no, about 70.
Is it really? That
Yeah,
high?
for people that get full blown, yeah. It's high.
I know Ebola. Ebola's anywhere from 40 to 60, I think. And then you got hantavirus that's like 80 or 85%.
Look, check the news. Bill Gates was already warning about, the next pandemic. He was warning about this a few days ago. So they're channeling, they're signaling what they intend to do.
Well, a lot of people are saying that the Chinese released the next pandemic at the Olympics.
I can believe that.
Okay, Andy, never mind. You were right. It's about 30% for smallpox.
Well,
Sorry.
that's still,
I'm vaccinated for smallpox though, so I'm good.
that's like thousands of times higher than the coronavirus death toll, though. So
Right.
Ronnie, did you get the smallpox vaccine in the military?
Sure did.
How about you, Ben? Did you
But I
get
thought it was only good for like 10 years.
it is.
Yeah, but I'm sure you still got some level of protection though. You're still better off than the average person.
I mean, I probably got my follow-up about a year or two ago when so
I think I'd probably still get it. Maybe I'll survive it, but I'll be horribly scarred.
Hey, it's no worse than fucking having a really bad fucking teenage acne.
Or leprosy.
well, let's think about most of the great historical figures had scars on their faces. So
Right? I already have a few. Can't see them in this camera, but they're there. There's one here. They're all over here. In here.
like they were still fighting wars during the bubonic plague, for God's sakes.
Who gives a fuck? Right?
We're dying anyhow, so we're gonna take that down.
Well, look at World War I. We fought right through that, through the thick of the Spanish flu.
The Kansas flu.
The Spanish flu.
Yeah, I know, but realistically, it's probably supposed to be the Kansas flu.
Did you know something
Yeah.
though? I heard a conspiracy theory that that Spanish flu outbreak in you know, that bad one was actually it was caused by a vaccine for viral meningitis.
I have not heard that.
And they were inoculating people with this, and they started with soldiers that they were testing the vaccine on for viral meningitis. And when they went over there to Europe to fight, they spread it, shedding.
Yeah, because
And it
what
spread
is
all over the world.
Is it Fort Leonard Wood? Is that the one?
I think it was.
It was a Kansas installation.
Was it?
Yeah. I don't know if that's Leonard Wood. No, it's Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Yeah, Leonard Wood's in Missouri.
That's right.
Fort Lost in the Woods.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one conspiracy I've heard.
But to kind of also tie this in with a bit of the supernatural, because coronavirus just hasn't had the impact, and you're already seeing global pushback everywhere. Because so the death toll hasn't been that petrifying to really transform society, because this is all part of a demonic kind of reset of human society, the Great Reset.
Hasn't scared me.
No, well, yeah, it scared everyone until we realized that it wasn't as bad as the media kept telling us. So most of the normal people realize. But if they weaponize smallpox and a third of the population dies, now we're talking about some biblical shit. Because that's one of the plagues in the Bible where a third of the population dies.
What was that one you said, Andy, that the Chinese were going to release at the Olympics?
Which one?
When we were talking about it before the show.
No, you brought that up. You said that Dave was telling you that they released the next one.
That they were going to release the real virus, that COVID was the test run.
Oh,
that they were going to release the deadly one.
Yeah, I was talking about. I came back to you with the book Rainbow Six by Tom Clancy, because that is the exact plot of the terrorist plans to release their weaponized Ebola virus airborne at the Olympics.
Jesus.
In that book, like that's literally the exact plot of Rainbow Six.
Okay, yeah. So what I was told by Dave, our friend's dad, was that some Chinese scientists that actually worked in the Wuhan lab basically defected. So they came here and they blew the whistle, but they're not letting it out because, well, you know, the deep state and their whole shit. Basically, they're going to release the actual real deadly virus at the Olympics here, and it has a incubation period of 3 weeks to a month. But during that period, you're still contagious and you can spread it around. So you're 3 weeks to a month before you even know you have it. And in that whole time, you're spreading it to everyone you know. And they're spreading it to everyone they know before they even know that they have it.
Are they able to biologically manipulate that to be a time release like that?
Yes, apparently so.
Because usually, because it seems like once like someone gets Ebola, for example, they're just like stricken immediately, and just.
Well, I'm not saying that this is Ebola, but this is supposed to be a very, very deadly virus.
Well, I mean, I've heard the theory floating around for the last month or so that the next one coming out was going to be some kind of a hemorrhagic fever. Whether it's hantavirus or Ebola or one of the other myriad of hemorrhagic fever viruses out there.
Yeah. One that turns your internal organs into liquid shit.
Kind of like,
you're sick, you're going to die, and you're going to deserve it because you're fucking weak.
Wasn't that in that movie Outbreak? Wasn't that hemorrhagic?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they killed.
Yeah, that was that monkey Ebola or something.
Those monkeys that escaped in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That
Yeah, and then
that bitch on scene that fucking got face to face with the monkey. Did she live? Because I know she got sick. She was in the hospital.
yeah,
She lived for she only recently died, I think. I think she died
Did she die?
recently. Recently, like in the
Yeah.
past year.
but did
So
you die?
Did you say in the past year? Because this only happened a few weeks ago.
no, that happened like 15 plus years ago.
No, it just happened. It was a van full of lab monkeys. It crashed.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were talking about that woman attacked who had her face bitten off.
No, the one that just happened. There were lab monkeys from. Were they from Pfizer, Ronnie? Were they Pfizer lab monkeys?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Anyway, it was in Pennsylvania. The van crashed. Some of the monkeys got out. Now there was some broad on scene that thought it was a good idea to get face to face with one of these things. Oh, the monkey went away, but he left her a little present.
You know what's funny? Wasn't it a veterinary clinic or hospital or warehouse that they found those unauthorized smallpox vials in their fucking freezer?
Yeah, that was in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So now you have a monkey
So you got
van
smallpox vials in
crashing.
Pennsylvania, and then you got monkeys, lab monkeys that they classified to be infected. They didn't say with
Yeah.
what though.
Yeah, see, that was my question. Is because both said incidents were Pennsylvania. So there's only one lab in the United States that's authorized to hold smallpox in their lab. And there's only one, and it's not a veterinary place in Pennsylvania.
Is it CDC in Atlanta?
Probably.
Yeah, most likely.
I mean, look, I think they're
As long
just
as you keep
channeling.
Fauci away from it, I'm all set.
They're just channeling what they intend to do. That's all.
You know what I think?
No, they're absolutely telegraphing it, and people are just too
Telegraphing
dumb to see it.
Well, because as you said, most Americans are just lackadaisical. They're just chilling at home, watching the game, drinking a beer, and they don't give a shit about anything outside of what's in front of them for like at least like they said in that great movie Canadian Bacon, the average American's attention span is as long as your dick.
Yeah, and
Which,
so it's unfortunate, but I don't feel sorry for any of them when the shit hits the fan and they're all caught off guard.
Well,
no, because
some men are longer than others.
well, this was intended as an insult to the little guy. So
Right.
Because people like me have been out there for a year and a half telling everyone I know, this shit's coming, and everyone tells me I'm nuts. So I don't feel sorry for them because I've been warning them.
well, no, exactly. I agree with you. And
COVID wasn't
frankly,
scary enough. Now they're going to come up with something more scary.
it wasn't. I mean, obviously, it was only strong enough to shut down the world economy for about a year at best. And obviously, not every aspect of the economy shut down. I mean, it was a very dramatic situation. Let's not lie. I mean, this is the first time we've ever shut down over a virus.
Oh, I'm drumming up a new conspiracy in my head. Maybe the what do you call it, Ben? So you don't get banned? The coof?
Yeah, the coof. But we're not we're not on YouTube, so it doesn't matter.
This one's going on YouTube.
All right, coof.
Okay, so the coof, maybe the coof wasn't that bad on purpose. Maybe they made it not bad on purpose because they wanted us to spend 2 years thinking this is bullshit, so that when the real one comes out and it's horrible, and we won't believe it until it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Like the boy, like the boy who cried wolf.
Oh, I was just thinking about that. I mean, I definitely think coof was certainly a dry run. Maybe just to
That's
see.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Only this next time, The government's going to be screaming from the hilltops, take cover, and we're not going to listen because the last 2 years, bullshit.
No, it'll probably be the opposite. The government will be saying everything's okay. Go to work. Do your thing. On this one.
No, I don't think so.
Well, no, because if they want to control our lives with this minimal of a virus, they're going to even want more domination over a far more deadly virus.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you know the eugenicist playbook, they want as many people out there getting infected as possible because they want as many people gone as possible.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, though. What Ben said, they're not going to keep this next one quiet. They're going to be screaming from the rooftops. The government is trying to they're going to be trying to lock us down, and that's going to bring us, because we don't believe them, that's going to bring us out in large numbers into the streets, spreading it around. And we're not going to believe a fucking word they say. Only this time they're going to be right.
Yeah, boy who cried wolf. That's a big possibility.
I don't believe anything they say anyway.
You're
That's
missing
true.
the point, Ronnie.
No,
I think you're missing the point.
no, he's not. He's not.
You're
No.
fired.
No, I agree. Because look, I think again, to tie this into supernatural matters, these are evil people. They want global domination. This might even be some antichrist shit.
They're evil reptiles. They're reptilians.
that was the Babylon Bee's proposed name for, the Washington Redskins. Their name was the Washington Lizard people.
I mean, if you want a virus that's going to kill a third of the world, a weaponized smallpox is a pretty good one to use.
That's what I mean, because Bill Gates keeps fucking talking about it. Like, he's just letting people know, hey, I'm going to kill you with smallpox in the next probably year, within the next year.
Well, it's like that meme. It's like that meme that's been floating out for the last couple of years, where it's Obi-Wan and Luke and all of them. They're standing there over Washington D.C. and Obi-Wan's telling Luke, "You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy."
Yeah, because Dark Winter. I think the Dark Winter scenario too involved like very certain targets, like Oklahoma City was the target, for example. They're going to target, I think Pennsylvania was another target in Dark Winter in the actual simulation. And then it was some other destination. I can't remember where. So the fact is that Pennsylvania's in the news about all this shit is lining up with Dark Winter, the simulation.
Yep. I never read Rainbow Six, so
Bill Gates I think he's going to target, because honestly, he's like a servant of the Antichrist, in my opinion. He's not it, but he's a servant. So he is most definitely going to help fund biological terrorism against the people of the world. I fully believe that.
I believe that too.
Andrew, are you urinating?
That's what happens when you drink beer, dude.
He opened the floodgates, and now he has a gerbil bladder.
I broke the seal, dude. What do you want me to do?
He's got the bladder of a gerbil.
Mr. I'm trying to think of what the gerbil was called from South Park, Mr. Finnywink or something. I forgot.
Look what you've done to Mr. Bigglesworth.
Dark Winter is absolutely morbidly obese.
You tried to milk him, didn't you, you sick son of a bitch?
Fucker, I'm not going to tell you again. Jinx cannot flush the toilet. He's a cat, for Christ's sake.
He doesn't even have thumbs, fucker.
I have nipples too, Greg. Can you milk me?
Yeah, you can milk anything with nipples.
Oh my God.
He's like, I got some super spy hunter on my ass.
Now that the world is
the same way if he shoved bamboo shoots up my fingernails.
Like Dr. Torquemada in the Grand Inquisition.
Face it, you can't torque them out of anything.
Oh, man.
Friggin' History of the World Part 1.
He's like, can you deal with that?
So seeing that the world's basically backtracking on much of the mandates now, when would we expect this this new demonic sort of biblical plague to hit us?
Well, if it
within
was
the next
really-
month.
Yeah, exactly. If what I'm being told is correct, and it's being released at the Olympics, then within 3 weeks to a month of the Olympics being over is when you should start seeing it spread like wildfire if it's real. If what I'm being told is real.
So by the middle of next month.
Yeah. Middle to end of next month.
So I guess it's good if a country or a state didn't send any athletes then.
Well, we also
Oh yeah, we're safe up in Maine. We don't have any athletes. not world class ones.
Yeah, we used to play games. It was called Shovel or You Can't Leave Your House.
Gonna play a game of whack fuck.
Yeah, Ronnie, your average girl over here makes all the girls in Maine look like walruses.
No, I believe it. I've been around, Andy. I know the difference between Maine girls and literally everywhere else. So
Yeah, we used to play Olympic games. It was called Stay Warm or Freeze to Death.
Right?
exactly. Hey, we say that at work all the time because I'm out in the freezing cold all day on solar fields, and they're like, the heat's in your tools, man. If you're cold, work harder.
The heat's in your tools. If you're cold, you're not working hard enough.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's like 30 below, and the wind's blowing with a wind chill of 50 below.
You know
Yeah.
what? When I used to
Cold,
do
you work harder.
when I used to do electrical work in North Carolina, my supervisor, he used to tell me the exact opposite. He used to tell me, if you're sweating, you're working too hard. Find a smarter way to do it.
It's because they have 99-degree humidity, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what he used to tell me. He's like, if you're sweating, you're working too hard. He's like, find a smarter way to do your job.
Dude, down there, if I'm doing nothing at all and I'm outdoors, I'm sweating.
Yeah, you're still sweat. You walk out the door at a casual pace and you're sweating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just
Just wondering-
marinate in your own juices.
Exactly. It's like a human crock pot in your clothes. just brewing.
Welcome to swamp ass South Carolina.
Brewing and all that ass gravy.
R. Kelly's doo-doo butter. Remember that? And they had that chick Vita Guerrera on the fucking that music video he made, the parody.
Yep.
And he's like,
Yeah.
he's like got a hose and he's pouring like shit on her head.
He put like a toilet seat up to her face. He's like, my night won't be complete until I turn your face into a toilet seat. I'm gonna piss on it.
Haters wanna hate, lovers wanna love. I don't even want none of the above. I want to piss on you.
Drip,
Piss
drip,
on
drip.
you. Drip, drip, drip. Pee on you. Piss on you. Piss on you. You'll never feel quite the same when you get a whiff of my Hershey stains.
Oh, God. I forgot that part.
I want
My
to
God.
poo on you too. I want to pee in your food.
Andy, the sea is foamy. We
No,
wandered way off course.
You're
ship-
fired.
the ship is run aground in Antarctica. Half the crew died of frostbite, and
The other half is trying to chip the ship out, but they're working against the clock because it's just locking up as fast as they can chip it.
The Nazi flying saucers are coming out of the water and shooting at us now with their death rays.
a
We're,
third of the
we're marooned on an iceberg.
Oh, man.
cannibalization and just everyone's dead now. The
Well,
crew's
I mean,
gone.
Scurvy
honestly
is
though,
rampant.
what the hell? Oh,
Scurvy mateys.
or matey. Wait.
Man the sails, you scurvy dogs.
Yeah. So
How come everyone gets around ships? Everything becomes fucking nautical. An aft, a stern, avast me landlubbers. Man the bilge pump. Pump your fucking ass.
Lethal Weapon 4, huh? And remember that old Chinese dude, and the old Chinese dude in that, and they keep calling him Uncle Ben,
Yeah,
Uncle Benny.
Uncle Ben.
Right about that.
My God.
He's they're all talking. They're all
He looks at Jet Li. He's like, "Ooh, what's his name?" He don't look too happy. He's like, "Ooh,
he's like
to the drag queen, huh?"
Right.
and then he's all talking about he's like fried rice, he's like fly rice. Oh, fly rice. No, it's fried rice, you plick.
The sea is foamy. We have wandered way off course.
Ronnie, you it's funny though. The last couple episodes that you missed, Ronnie, were like way more orderly.
Ronnie is the cause. Ronnie is the Lord of Chaos.
Ronnie is the lord of whipping the seas up into foam.
This is very good for the supernatural beer bros.
I'm Poseidon. I'm here to fuck up your ocean.
The kiss of Poseidon. When you take a shit in the toilet and the water splashes up on you.
Fuck, Ronnie.
The kiss of Poseidon is when the water in the toilet splashes up when the shit plops and it comes up and it
hits
tickles your
bum.
balls. It goes.
It hits your bum.
Hits your bum and your balls and everything.
Then you feel it dripping off of you for like the next 5 minutes.
While you're sitting there drip drying because you don't want to waste toilet paper.
Right.
Because you're poor and don't want to buy more. Cue the fart noise, Andy.
Jesus.
Right. Back to the topic.
Oh
The sea
man.
is foamy. We have wandered way off course.
I think we've beat this dead horse enough.
We haven't even hardly talked about Dark Winter. We went off into Event 201
We
and
got
all
a good,
kinds of other
we got a
stuff.
good discussion going. Then you talked about poo. So
I didn't talk about poo.
Don't blame it all on me. You didn't put that evil on me.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
but it was him.
It wasn't just me. I played into your antics, but I made it worse.
Well,
Right,
here's
what's
the thing.
What's your opinion about Dark Winter?
Here's the thing with Dark Winter, like, I don't know. I just don't know.
No.
We have Event 201. Okay, that was the simulated COVID outbreak 6 months before it happened. Then you have Dark Winter in, what was it, June or July of 2001. And it's about smallpox, not COVID. So I don't know.
I think all the evidence is leading towards something smallpox related.
Yeah, but then again, though, too, you like we were saying, you got the vials, the random vials that were found.
Bill Gates talking about it randomly and frequently.
And then you get the monkeys.
And just remember, I think I've said this in a previous episode too, but I'm going to say it again. if you're listening to this and you think that your government wouldn't plan and do this to you, look no further than Operation Northwoods.
Oh yeah. We're gonna do a whole
Look it up,
episode on that one.
Operation Northwood, and look what the
Ben.
government was planning to do.
Ben, we're doing Northwoods next week.
The government was planning to make a false flag attack against American citizens on the mainland as a justification to invade Cuba. That go ahead and look it up. And this was a plan. Generals were all over it.
You're mistaken. It was going to be a false flag attack on our naval fleet at Guantanamo Bay.
So on our
to justify an invasion of Cuba.
Well, same thing. It was an attack on American citizens, basically, to justify invading Cuba. They were going to stage a false flag attack.
I mean, there's countless examples. I mean,
the USS Maine,
Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah. I mean, look, and this is all governments. I mean, throughout history, that's the thing. It's not like
Reichstag fire.
Yep. Yeah, precisely. The Reichstag fire. There were some people even saying that Hitler faked the attack on September 1st, 1939, on the Polish border with Germany to justify the invasion, the Blitzkrieg.
Yep.
So, governments do evil shit to justify their policies. This is the least surprising thing ever, unless you're like completely historically illiterate or you've been educated with the official history.
And actually, I'm kind of proud of the truckers in Canada because they didn't take the bait. I think the whole idea with these jackboot thugs that are arresting them now, I think the whole idea behind sending those cops out there to start arresting people was to trigger a violent response.
What was they trampled an old woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course
They were
they're
trying
trying
to trigger a violent response.
But my point is the truckers haven't taken the bait. They haven't taken the bait. So
the truckers came out and said, like, we expect the government or the police to plant illegal guns in our midst. Like, they had a press conference about this.
Yep.
So they're well aware of what these people are willing to do.
Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a reason that all of those cops that were out there in the last couple days, the riot control cops, they took all their name tags off. None of them are wearing name tags or badge numbers.
Of course, they're now Trudeau's Gestapo.
Yep.
Well, no different. Yeah, I mean, Trudeau has his Gestapo. The FBI is just Biden's KGB. I mean, so, and, I mean, look no further to false flags. I mean, look what they're doing in Ukraine. They keep warning about, Russians are going to launch a false flag. Well, that just probably means we're going to do it, or NATO's going to do it to justify, violence.
You know what? Half of me just wants to like organize like 500,000 American patriots and just head up there and liberate Canada.
Well, I mean, Alberta's like, you have some provinces which are pretty conservative and have guns. So, like, I think we're starting to see that right now, and this convoy is the first potential step. Because many of the truckers said they're going to stay until Trudeau's government is forced out. So
I'm telling you right now, though, when this American convoy makes its way towards Washington, D.C. and it starts getting close, all hell's going to break loose.
Well, yeah, they're already authorizing the D.C. National Guard to stand ready for the convoy. So they're already weaponizing troops.
National Guard ain't going to do shit.
I'm just saying they're
nasty girls.
Oh, I'm not saying that like I'm putting them down. I'm saying that because I just don't think they're going to do anything about it.
Oh, listen, if there's any National Guard listening to this, we're all ex-military. I say nasty girls with the most love possible.
But to everyone's point, the government will happily do things against their own citizens to justify any action. They've done it in the past.
But it only
So-
works if you comply.
So that's
Hey,
why.
me and Andy were regular Army, regular assholes. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
Ben was regular Navy. I don't know if there is a Navy Reserve. Is there a Reserve Navy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a colossal branch. Yeah.
There's a Navy
they-
Reserve?
it's a Navy Reserve, like man the tugboats and stuff.
That's Coast Guard, isn't it?
It's the Coast Guard. The Navy Reserve is the Coast Guard.
Friggin' tug, friggin'.
Does your branch, do they draw their personnel problems? Do they draw them from the Coast Guard?
Wait, huh?
Like, if you got a shortage of personnel, do you draw those people from the Coast Guard?
I mean, they have similar rates. So, like a bosun, for example, they have a bosun's mate. We have bosun's mates. So, I guess
what's a bosun?
they man ships. They do deck department on a ship. They man the small boats when they go out to say look for man overboard drills or other. Well, I guess that's more of a cosin or cosin, but
Well, let's put it this way then, Ben. If let's say the fleet that you were in, let's say they were under minimum manpower by, I don't know, 1,000 men or 1,500 or 500 men even. In an emergency situation where we have to deploy now, would they draw from the Coast Guard?
well, no, they draw from the Navy Reserves.
Okay.
Because reservists, just like in the army reservists can be called up at any point. Obviously, now you have dwell time. I think just like every other reservist. So if a reservist was called up in any branch, they have dwell times of like 3 to 4 days for each day deployed. So,
Yeah.
some of these guys who are being like, look at this ridiculous bullshit now of National Guard being used to teach classes, right, at schools.
Yeah, I'll go back in if they pay me per diem.
So that's what I mean. Some of these guys are going to be called up for like 10 to 12 months. So they're going to be dwelling with no deployments for like 4 to 5 years now. So,
Yeah.
but anyhow, just back to the point. Governments will willingly kill their citizens, and I think all this ties in. I think we're approaching some biblical level events. To be very frank with you, I'm not a theologian. I'm not a priest, pastor, whatever. I just think you can look at the people who are in charge of the globe right now, and they're some demonic sons of bitches with some evil intent in their heart. And this isn't just, this all has like a political flavor. But if people aren't spiritually prepared for what's coming, they're going to be fucked, because this is spiritual warfare above everything else. These people probably literally worship the devil, for all I know.
They probably do.
Well, they definitely do.
Because I think
The 13 families, the bloodlines.
to tie it in with, it's like you go back to in the Old Testament, and look, just people who are listening to this, you don't have to be a Christian or whatever. I'm making an observation. Like you go back to the Old Testament, and you had a god named Moloch who demanded essentially child sacrifices in what was essentially a brazen bull. It was a bronze bull, and they did that to infants, for Christ's sake.
Hey guys, we should stand up our own little militia unit. We'll call ourselves the 13th Legion. Like Caesar's 13th? The ones that crossed the Rubicon?
Oh, I didn't know that was the Legion. Shit.
Yeah, the 13th.
Yeah, but Caesar killed the Republic.
So?
Who cares?
I mean, hey, you know what? On the other podcast, you're the one talking about you want national divorce and secession.
Yeah, I don't want an empire in its place, though. I want to destroy all empire.
Yeah, but you're gonna have a bunch of little mini empires.
Fuck it. Then they cross our border, we kill them all and destroy their territory.
Instead of crossing the Rubicon, though, we're gonna cross the Mississippi.
The Mississippi.
Yeah, and then in 1,000 years there'll be a Jeep Mississippi instead of the Jeep Rubicon.
In 1813, we took a little trip.
1814.
14?
Yeah.
Oh. Stop correcting me, Ben. God damn it.
I don't like it.
Oh, the day that it
You're
comes, though,
fired.
the day it comes and we're being invaded or whatever, we'll be fighting a defensive war and salting the earth, leaving nothing for the enemy.
Well, and I think that's a great. Actually, that's what I want to talk about in the next anti-com. Like that aspect in and of itself, we can have a whole fantastic discussion about it. But yeah,
we take everything we can carry and burn the rest, salt the earth.
it's going to be small group tactics once they launch Operation Dark Winter on the population. Because we're not going to have anyone to trust except for your small, verified network of reliable, friends and family. So it's all going to be small group activity.
And even then, anybody who goes out and is in contact with anybody from the outside will have to be quarantined for a certain period of time before they can rejoin the group.
Yep. So
In that type of situation, anyway.
So be rural. Rural is going to be a good thing in the upcoming strike.
Population centers are your enemy.
Rural's the name of the game.
Get the hell to Montana. Get the hell to, I don't know, the Yukon.
North Dakota, either one of the Dakotas. The Dakota.
Get off the grid, stock up on your solar panels, and get yourself ready.
Get out there to Yellowstone with the Grizzlies.
They have too many visitors, and that's government property. Well, it's our property, but technically government property.
It's only the government's property when we allow them to possess it.
This ain't,
The government take my property, call it manifest destiny.
Bastards.
Fucking Ronnie.
No, it's called imminent domain now, not manifest destiny.
Well, what's our final verdict? Let's give a final verdict here.
You're fired.
How's this for a verdict?
No, 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 no.
That's a crap verdict.
Yeah, it is. No, you know what though? I think honestly, on our fat scale, this one's obese.
This one's dying of a heart attack in the hospital.
Dark Winter is obese.
Yeah, this one is eating fucking lard by the spoonful out of a fucking container of lard.
Yeah, Ronnie's fucking spoon feeding himself Crisco. Just.
But if you can see the visual on this one, this is in this whole situation. This is my final verdict on all this. When it all goes down, I'm going to this.
Ronnie just mowing down on a fucking Big Mac.
Heel Jolly Roger. We're gonna hoist the black flag.
Just check out Vlad Dracul on DuckDuckGo, especially his Forest of Ottomans.
Yeah, 20,000 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. No, that's the thing. Like, you're gonna need people like that. You're gonna need that mindset because it's. Well, I guess I'll save that for the other podcast. I think that'd be a great topic for our next topic.
I can't remember that. Just a little side note on that, like the Forest of Ottomans. I believe it was in World War II, Germany, or fighting the Germans. It was an American sniper off on his own, pinned down a whole like company of Germans, and he spent several days just picking them off one by one. So eventually hit a point where the Germans found their way out under cover of darkness and retreated. And it was just the sniper, just him. He didn't have a spotter with him. And all the Germans that he had killed, he went out and tied them up on trees and scalped them and left them there as a psychological warfare.
Lieutenant Aldo Rain.
Yeah. No, they might have got, the idea for that character from this guy, because, yeah, he was ruthless.
Well, that's what you have to be, because you want to, like,
Right here, fellas.
yeah, they had to go through a forest of their compatriots.
These are bodies on top of spikes.
Like, that's total psychological mind fuck. Like, these people were probably vomiting and pissing their armor as they were marching through it.
Almost
Like-
swallowed my arm. I was so scared.
Oh, that's gonna rust.
Booms.
I made my armor so rusty. I was so scared.
Bumblebee, stop lubricating the human. Oh, anyway, I think we've beat this dead horse just about enough. So, this has been the Supernatural Beer Bros podcast. We are on Instagram at SBB Pod. You can hit me up on, or us up on the Instagram DMs there. The email is supernaturalbeerbros@gmail.com. Bitches, gripes, complaints, suggestions, hit us up on the email or on the Instagram.
Yeah, you need to give me admin privileges on the Instagram there, you cheap bastard.
Honestly, I don't even remember the fucking password. It's logged in automatically on my phone. I don't fucking remember it.
God, Andy.
Don't worry. If somebody
Yep.
messages me, I will pass it on to y'all.
You're fired.
We can address it together on the show.
We ought to do a segment like either at the beginning or the end of the show and answer emails or whatever.
I haven't got any emails. That's the problem.
Oh, come on.
We're not famous yet.
Let's make some up then. We'll just say so and so did it, and we'll make up a cool story and answer it.
Ronnie, let me ask you a question. Why is your hair and your beard so like light colored compared to mine?
I don't know. The lighting.
My hair is a
most
lot
likely.
darker than his, Ben.
Let's end this and then we can keep talking.
All right.
It's the lighting, really. There's glare.
End it and there we go.
This has been the Supernatural Beer Bros podcast, and we are signing out.